Hello, and welcome to the Banker's View from Sibos video series, filmed here on location in Toronto. I'm Joy Macknight, Deputy Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Bruno Campenon, who is Head of Financial Intermediaries and Corporates at BNP Paribas. Bruno, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Joy.
We're on our last day of Sibos. What would you say were the main topics of discussion this year?
Well, I think we've had plenty, but probably two are really at the top of the pile. No surprise here. The first one will be about digitalisation, and in particular, what shape or form is that taking nowadays? And in the past, when we're talking about digitalisation, the first word that was coming to mind was about disruption. What I can say is that this year, no one is talking about full disruption any longer, but we're more talking about the value we can bring on a step-by-step basis. Second element, no surprise either, that is coming actually very closely with the digitalization, because this is quite linked to it, and that is the cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a threat, and this is a growing threat that we need to tackle, and people want to understand a bit further what it means, how to tackle it, and what are the others doing about it.
I know you spoke on a panel which looked at whether or not capital markets are more secure than payments. What was the result?
So the result is not as easy as a yes or no, as you can expect. But basically, when you compare payment industry with the security services industry, the main difference that you will take is that a payment is a one-sided or one-legged transaction. You pay and you have no counterparty. While when you enter into the securities world, you actually work much more on a DVP or RVP basis. So the concept is slightly different, because on one side, again, you got one-sided transaction. On the other side, you got a two-sided, meaning that you have a payment and it's collateral. So if you take it from there, you would say, well, this is a bit less risky to work on the two-sided than on the one-sided, simply because you are collateralized. Actually, it's a bit more tricky than this, because when you enter into the securities world, if you start stopping some of those transactions, then you create a gap in the liquidity on the market, and then you have funding issue, and then everything starts to collapse. So if you stop to do repo, then you have liquidity drying. If you start to do securities lending, then you start to have buying going in a big increase. So at the end of the day, the two are as complex and will generate risk pretty much at the same level. But I think the main elements that we came out with is that there is still a lack of discussion around the topic, and we are definitely needing to get some parties, whether that's the regulators, market infrastructures, helping all the participants to start talking about it and ensuring that we reach a common consensus about what we have to do and how we can reach that out.
Do you think that the digitalization of securities is increasing opportunities for cybercriminals? And if so, what can be done about that?
The cybersecurity and the digital is, I would say, slightly higher than what we had in the past, simply by the fact that we're pushing a bit further the cloud concept, we're pushing a bit further the Internet of Things, and hence it's true that you have more take on this new industry in which we're living from the cybersecurity threat perspective. Now, I don't think this is a revolution. This is just an evolution of something that we had to do in the past. That being said, I must admit that for me, one of the potential huge threats will be the arrival of the quantum technology. As we will shift to binary into hexadecimal world, it means that the capacity of the machine in the future will be multiplied by millions. Once you will be doing that, it means that cracking code or cracking any passwords will become much easier. So how will the industry react to this, and what will be the next level of protection that we'll have to put in place? For me, that will be the big question. It's not the question for today, that's the question for tomorrow.
Okay. There's been tons of hype around blockchain at this conference and in the years previous. Do you think it's going to make a big impact in this arena?
So the blockchain is, you're absolutely right, in everyone's mind. It started with a concept of, I want to revamp completely what I'm doing today. I want to recreate a new ecosystem. I want to disrupt as much as I can. The problem is that we've seen in the past 2 years, everyone was going crazy about it. What we've seen is that it's not exactly this that is happening. So now we're back to a level where the blockchain is sought for adding value on a step-by-step basis. And in that space, what we see is that all the fintech are bringing a lot of ideas on what you can use around the blockchain. So not just giving the full ecosystem, but what are those small elements that you can play with in order to create added value, whether on the artificial intelligence, whether on very simple robotics automation. So this is something that is progressing. The market is pushing a tremendous lot of new ideas, and the beauty of it is that we start to see concrete action on the market from the blockchain. Maybe to take one example of what we're doing in-house, we just announced about a week ago that we are generating a corporate event connect solution for the market, where we have done already a beta test, and this is proven to be quite successful. The concept is to be able to capture information about corporate events, to store it and distribute it in a very open manner, with data which quality will be much better, and with which velocity will be much better for our clients.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your insights, Bruno.
Thank you very much.